Miss Gleave. How are you?
Hi, John.
How's everything?
Good. It's been a long time.
Has it?
Well, it's been 2 weeks, right? Or is it more?
Felt like way more than that.
Well, we're here now.
We are here now, and we are back for segment 23, I believe, right?
Yes, correct.
And boy, do we have some interesting stuff to talk about today, don't we?
We do, and I hope we don't ruffle any feathers.
Oh, we're going to ruffle feathers.
But I always say, we are mature, educated people.
Speak for
When
yourself.
we can accept that what we believe, our philosophy, our values might not resemble or align with another person, it doesn't mean we are right and they are wrong, or the reverse. So having said that, welcome back to
How can you say that?
And tonight, well, we'll have some outrageousness from Man Boy because he can't help it. So tonight we are discussing a very controversial movie.
But serious.
It's controversial and it's serious.
We are not here to play games tonight. This is the real deal.
Because for as long as I've lived in America, we've had missing people, missing children. And I've always wondered where they went, what happened to them. And over the years, we've heard stories. I've read and heard stories. And I have come to realize in the United States, when something sounds uncomfortable, it's normally stuffed in the box. That's called controversy.
Swept under the rug.
But
sweep it away.
I believe where there's smoke, a lot of smoke, it really leads to fire if you could get to where it's coming from. So
in this case, it's a wildfire. This isn't just this is an inferno, if you will.
Yes.
Because what we're going to talk about tonight is so disturbing and bothersome to normal people that it's almost outrageous that this is going on in a civilized country and that we're a part of this horrible and despicableness. So what we're talking about is, I'm sure many of you have heard or even seen, hopefully seen, the movie Sound of Freedom.
And a lot of people keep saying to me, Jenny, I can't see it. I have kids. I think we need to stop being ostriches.
I said that to you.
When did you say that?
I said I don't want to see it because I have kids.
Oh, yeah, well, you're not the only one. But I feel like...
But I'm the most important one that said it.
And burying our head in the sand. And I believe personally, my opinion, people, so don't kill me, is this is the reason why we have a lot of the problems in the world, because people say, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. It's been happening forever. How are you ever going to fix it? And my view is very different. I think if every person takes responsibility in some way, just bringing awareness to it sometimes can make a difference. Because if I or any of you watching have had your children disappear, I am sure this would take on a very different life.
I'm just playing with your microphone because I want to make sure that you're actually on. No, I mean, you're doing a lot of talking. I want to make sure that it's on the plus sign. I mean, you're the technical, producer, professional stuff. I'm just the man boy, so what do I know? But I'm thinking when instead of being on the minus, it should be on the plus. Anyway, so yeah. So what you said was true. I don't even remember what you said, but I'm sure whatever you said was true because I was focused on the microphone. This movie, I am one of the people that said I did not want to see it because I have children. And you know the thought, you remember when you were raising your kids? That thought when you're in a mall or something or a store, and for 2 seconds your kid disappears, like they're hiding in the clothing rack or something like that. There's that instant feeling of panic that comes over you where it's like you just start to sweat, and it's literally for seconds. Can you imagine, have any conceivable thought of what it must be like to have your child abducted or kidnapped or whatever you want to term it, or confiscated, whatever the term is, and not knowing literally for years or ever what happened? And that's kind of like the gist of what this movie is about.
Yes, I have written down something that if you don't mind, I can read it. And it is just a little bit of details on this movie if you haven't seen it. And the movie.
Wait, before you get into details, can I just say one
Yes,
thing? Because
sure.
this will lead into what you're saying.
Yeah.
The movie opens by discussing this woman, this beautiful woman that comes in who's quote unquote the recruiter, where she.
Can I interrupt you for a minute? For people who haven't seen the movie, we don't want to give too much information and spoil it for them.
If they didn't see the movie by now, they don't deserve to see the movie.
I think you should be careful what you say. For those people who still
I
want
don't
to
really
see
care
it.
if you agree or not, because you know what? The feedback that we get from people is it's better when we don't agree. So I don't think we should agree on anything tonight. I think all we should do is fight. You know what we should do? Why don't we set up a cage match like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg is doing? Like a physical cage match where they're fighting each other. I bet that would get more views for us than anything. What do you think?
I don't agree because I don't think.
Perfect. You don't agree. Excellent.
I don't think it's fair to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. That's all I'm
Okay,
saying.
so I'll be more vague. I can't even be vague because then I'm going to talk about the whole plot. Okay, the bottom line is the father has 2 children abducted. Okay, and I won't ruin how it happened, but they are basically taken, and the movie begins by that opening part.
Okay, so can I just say the movie is called The Sound of Freedom because we've been going on and on and on, and I don't even think we mentioned.
I said it already.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't listen to me. See, again, this is the problem, the communication problem I have. You don't listen to me.
It was produced by someone named Eduardo, and I hope I don't butcher his last name, Verastegui.
Yeah, you butchered it.
Or Gui. It's Verastegui. So pronounce it how it's supposed to be. It was directed by Alexandro Monteverde, and the main character is Jim Caviezel. And
he's one that plays Tim Ballard?
Yes.
Okay.
And Tim Ballard was a former U.S. government agent who embarks on missions to rescue children who are being sex trafficked in Colombia. And apparently, it exposes child trafficking in the U.S., which has been named the largest child trafficking country in the world.
No, the largest consuming market for trafficked children is the United States. That's what it is.
And if that doesn't disturb you, then I don't know what the reason would be why not. But I have not slept well since I've watched this.
Okay, so let's there's so much we can go all over the place with this. We have to kind of keep this a little bit focused, okay? We are going to do a second part on it anyway, but let's try to keep the focus here. So the focus on this is the aspect of children
By
being.
the way, hold on. It's based on a true story. Now go for it. I didn't want to forget.
Okay, fine. That was important. So the bottom line with this movie is it addresses the issue, 2 things. 1, the abduction of children, and 2, what happens to those children after the abduction, basically having them trafficked. And for the most part, either for slave labor or more commonly for the sexual pleasure of sick and disgusting individuals that should be castrated and murdered in the street. So unfortunately, a lot of this is happening. Well, it's unfortunate that it's happening anywhere, but a lot of this apparently is happening in South America, Mexico, and all of these countries.
Poor countries where it's easy to grow kids.
Correct. And a lot of times the children get lured in by these recruiters who promise, modeling careers and movie careers and say, oh, your child's so amazing, so beautiful. Let's do a photo shoot. And all they're really doing is taking photos for these disgusting pedophiles who ultimately are going to purchase time or purchase these children as if they're objects for sale. Now, there's so many aspects of the horribleness of this. One is the consumer of that disgustingness, which is the ugly American, in this case, in the United States. There's that disgusting and despicable recruiter who has no conscience and is luring children into these traps. There is the
And not only is that disgusting, but the names associated with this child trafficking, I think that is what disturbs me the most.
Well, before you get
the people who are being accused or who are the racketeers or the people who own this industry are people that I'm sure you guys have heard the names.
Well, but we don't know these things for sure. But what we do, it is what we do know.
Smoke.
This is what we know. We know that a lot of these things are controlled by cartels in Mexico. That's where the game really originates from, because the children are being trafficked to these cartels. The cartels are then getting them over the borders to the United States. And what's really amazing is you don't hear this government right now, the Biden administration or whatever, discussing this or addressing this even. They don't even bring it up. And I want to call your attention to a video which you could find on YouTube. Just search Donald Trump, Tim Ballard. This is going back a number of years ago when Donald Trump was president, and he held a meeting in the White House with Tim Ballard and other law enforcement agents and people that were involved in the whole trafficking thing and really knew their stuff because they were intimately involved in saving of children, the rescuing of children, knowing how these operations work. And what Donald Trump was pointing out was the fact that so much of this could be prevented if we had a border that was protected. Because what he said, and he's right, and Tim Ballard himself, who was worked on the southern border for 12 years, said that when you have no border, physical barrier, it's just too easy for these cartels to bring these children in. And if they had to go through a legal port of entry, it would reduce the ability of these cartels to bring these children in by almost 90%, if not more. So the fact that we don't have a government addressing this and implementing solutions like Trump was doing with building the physical barrier is just, it's unconscious. What's the word? Unconscionable?
Yes.
Unconscionable that it's being ignored. And I'm literally repulsed and embarrassed that this is the country that I live in, and we are the largest consumer of child trafficked sex.
And here's the problem with the United States of America as a country, and I'm an American, so I'm part of the problem, although in a very unconscious way. I'm getting myself informed now so that I can be someone who somehow can help. I don't know how as yet. At least doing this, John and I are bringing awareness to this situation. But because of Donald Trump's involvement, a lot of people are not taking the movie seriously because they are claiming it's associated with QAnon. So I looked up QAnon because I wanted to make sure that that I'm not sitting here discussing, telling you or sharing information that's erroneous. And when I checked, what I found out, QAnon it's supposed to be some kind of a conspiracy group that is promoting a claim that the former President Trump is fighting a secret war against a network of satanic child abusers in government, entertainment, and media. And I am not fond of President Trump, and I am not a Trumpster, but I have to say that I do give him what he is due for what he has done, or whatever small part he played in bringing awareness.
Or large part.
Because when it comes to child trafficking, when it comes to trafficking and selling another human, there is something definitely wrong.
Well,
because the people selling them and the people buying them, who the hell do they think they are that they're entitled and have a right? I get so emotional about this. Serious.
Well, here's your how can you say that moment. You ready?
Yes.
Is it so wrong of me that I'd like to be trafficked? If there's a cartel out there listening, Cali, Medellin, whatever cartels are out there, I would like to be trafficked, kidnapped and trafficked on an experimental basis for 30 days. And I would like to be put to work where it's...
Unfortunately, John, I don't think anybody will...
Well, no, but what I'd like 30 days being trafficked to women, specifically age 35 to, let's say, 50, 55, something in that range. It should be multiple times a day, like unfortunately happens in these cases, 10, 15 times a day. And I just want to kind of do like a documentary on it to see what it's like, and then I'll report back the results. So again, women say between 35 and 55. That would be my target trafficking market. And I'd like to just go undercover and see how that goes.
Well, I have seen the movie, and I will tell you that based on what I saw, there's no conspiracy here. I remember I've been living in the US since 1986. And I remember back then you used to get milk cartoons with missing children.
Yes.
And I always wondered, where did these kids go? And back in the day,
Many of them were murdered,
unfortunately.
unfortunately.
Talk about UFOs. I'm like, are the UFOs taking these kids? How could they just evaporate?
Maybe if in this country we stopped talking about fucking transgender bathrooms and we focused onto things that were important, like human life and the destruction of the innocence of children, which is what we're talking about in this case, maybe our priorities in this country are just so freaking off the rails that we don't even know anymore what's important, what's not important. So let's try to rechannel. You know, the government has a responsibility to take care of people. That's ultimately what the government is supposed to do, right? Do you agree with that?
Well, they're showing us how they do that by the Maui fires, right?
Well, they're showing how they're not doing that. Okay, so that's, I don't want to agree with you. Okay, let's not agree.
But you have a problem because I'm not going to sound.
Punch me. Punch me. That's what people want to see. They want to see you hit me. Come on, hit me.
The problem I see with all of this.
I just told you the problem.
If you're not rich and famous, you don't matter, which is why
No, I disagree with that.
Trafficking is.
No, I disagree. It's got nothing to do with rich and famous. What it has to do with.
I'm sorry. Prince Harry entered this country.
Who's Prince Harry?
And apparently lied on his immigration records, and he's still here.
Oh, Prince Harry.
Anybody else, that one of us who has no importance attached to our name, let us try it and see if you don't get your ass held up in the immigration department.
Well, we know
okay that we have some rules for some and other rules for others. If we want to call this
that's the way
a democratic country.
That's unfortunately the way society works.
Adjectives.
Stay focused, woman. Stay focused. We're talking about child trafficking here. You have to calm down. You're spiraling out of control.
You make the people around the studio think you're hurting. You need to calm down.
No, listen, we're getting very emotional about this, but I want to stay focused on what we're talking about. We could do another show on government being crazy, but we're talking about the movie right now, Sound of Freedom, and we're talking about the horrible things that have happened to children around the world, and we're discussing why the government is inert. Is that the word?
Yes, you love to abuse adjectives.
Inert.
Please get your adjectives straight. Learn your
and not taking action. I want to call, you know how that dumb idiot Kamala Harris, she was supposed to be focused on the root cause of immigration to this country from Central America. Where are the results from that? Did you come up with anything? You came up with nothing. Okay, because you're an idiot. You're a buffoon. Not you. I'm talking about Kamala Harris. Okay? So maybe we should.
On my show, I don't want anybody coming after my show.
I'm sweating here.
Okay. All right.
But when I'm making a point here is that we have these dumb idiots in government and we have giant sized problems in front of us. This being something that should be at the forefront, taking care of human beings and making sure that people can live a dignified life and making sure that the innocence of a child is not stolen and robbed for the pleasure of some sick, disgusting animal that's not even a human being. So what do we do about this?
I've been doing my research, and what I'm finding out is that these kids are not just being stolen for sex. They're
slave labor.
They're being. I let you make your point. Can't you be polite enough to let me make mine?
No.
Interruption.
No, I cannot. Yes, I am.
Anyway, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by this man boy over here on my left. Apparently the kids are not just being.
Who drinks out of a square cup? What's a square cup?
The kids are, John, you're annoying me now. I'm going to ask you to leave in a minute.
Sorry.
They are being sacrificed at different satanic rituals, and they're using their blood.
Oh, that's extreme already.
No,
okay, that's like
what is happening.
But that's in like the minority of the minority. The main focus. You don't have to beg. Okay, the main focus is the sexual horribleness and the slave labor.
That's not all.
No, but that's the majority of it. And by the way,
do you know that their blood is being harvested?
you just hit me.
Yes, you deserve it.
Their blood is being harvested.
Oh
no, they're talking about harvesting the organs. That's what you're talking about. That's a bad one too.
The rich and the famous use something called adrenochrome, and they're adrenochroming children to get their blood to use to keep themselves young. The people behind
again, that's already far-fetched. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me.
You and I had a discussion about you deciding what is far-fetched and what is not.
No, but I'll tell you what that reminds me of. Okay.
I do not believe it's far-fetched.
I'm going to tell you what it reminds me. Stop hitting me.
After we finish the point, you can.
You lost your pillow. It flew right off your chair.
Okay.
No,
I'm gonna walk off this set if you don't shut up and let me make my point. Because you are beyond annoying. You're worse than the traffickers when you behave like this.
Worse than the traffickers? That's a bold statement, woman.
Well, it's
worse than the traffickers?
You are.
For cutting you off?
Because
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut off Jennylyn Leave, podcast media extraordinaire. So sorry.
There, but I deserve my talking time like I let.
But then I'm going to forget my point, and this is really important.
Anyway, like I was saying, I believe that the reason that the American government is trying to block TikTok, and somebody's going to come after me, but I don't care. I have to die once, so go ahead.
You want to be trafficked?
It's because on TikTok, it's where you get the information, where people are allowed to express what they know and share their experiences, and it can't get pulled down. Versus if you try posting something on the American media, they have their algorithms set. So if you just mention certain words, they pull your footage down.
It's not even the algorithm.
Way of controlling information and people learning what's really going on in the underbelly dark world that exists in parallel with this one.
It's not only.
Oh my God, you are beyond annoying.
No, it's not.
Let's deal with you.
Maybe she doesn't.
Jesus.
It's not all. We're not just. Jesus will discuss on a different night. Okay, we're not talking about.
Make your point.
I forgot all my points already. Okay, this is why I wanted to say them when I. Okay, so something I was just gonna. Oh God. All right, so let's talk about the blood thing that you said about the rich people drinking the blood and keeping them young. You know what that reminds me? Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. So
I correct what I said. You don't get to quote. You don't get to say.
You're eating into my time. You're eating into my time. Go ahead.
I didn't.
So say what did you say? Go ahead.
I said I read, and I've done a lot of research, and I've read this many places, not one place, many. And when people want to control and frighten people away, they say it's a conspiracy. Trust me, it is not a conspiracy. This is what is happening.
Okay, just remember
when they take these children.
Okay, so let me explain to you. Back in the 1800s, there used to be in Europe, they used to have things called pogroms. Pogroms were, especially in Russia and Poland and Hungary and Romania, were when the non-Jews would come after the Jews and murder them. And they would have reasons for why they were having pogroms. You know what one of the reasons were? One of the reasons were there were always rumors circulated that the Jews were taking non-Jewish children, killing them, and using their blood for different Jewish rituals, which makes no sense because Jews are not even allowed to drink blood, which is why we have to salt our meat to get the blood out. We're prohibited from drinking blood. So that's the stupidity of it. So when you talk about blood rituals and things like that, that's already, to me, it's already a little bit, again, off the rails. No, wait. Let me, now you made your point. Okay. No, wait, let me say. Now, what you said before about the algorithms on the media companies, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or whatever, there was a congressional hearing where the government or the congressmen, senators, whatever it was, and this again on YouTube, I was watching it. They were interviewing one of the former heads of Twitter, talking about, did the government ever come in and insist that you censor information? And the answer was absolutely that they did. She didn't want to answer it, but eventually she gave the answer, yes, we received this and this from the government, asking us to remove this content and that content. And it almost became like Twitter was an arm of the US government, like the media arm of the US government, only showing what the government wanted you to show.
Case in point.
Well, no, I'm agreeing with what you said in that regard, but you said algorithm is not only the algorithms of the companies doing it themselves, it's the government's forcing the hand of the tech companies to do it also and remove content.
I didn't specify who was setting up.
Okay, but again, that's off topic. We want to stay.
It's not.
This is.
Jonathan, it's not because you like to control everything. Why? Why do you have such control issues? I think I know why. I'm not going to say.
Oh, because I'm short.
Anyway,
is that why? Because I'm short. Napoleon complex. Is that what you're going to say?
I've been.
Is that what you're going to say?
Research. At nights when John is sleeping, I've been all over the internet reading and watching videos and reading and watching videos. And I know that material that has any of these facts that is being posted on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, it's getting pulled down. So if you really want to find out what's going on, people, there are hundreds of people posting the same information on TikTok. I know people say the Chinese want to know our business, whatever.
Chinese spying. We did a whole podcast on that.
Chinese, you can check out my stuff. Thank you for your platform because it's really keeping me and many other people who care informed.
So, okay, can I ask you a question? Do you agree that human trafficking in one form or another is equivalent to slavery? It's kind of a yes or no question.
Are you really asking me that?
Yeah, here I am. There's a point I'm making. Yeah.
What else would it
Just
be?
yes or no.
Keeping them on vacation?
Yes or no.
John.
Yes or no.
I don't know.
Is human trafficking, would you equate that to slavery?
I don't know.
If you had to take a guess, would you lean more towards yes or more towards no?
Of course it would be.
Okay, that's the correct answer. So does it bother you?
Me, say yes or no, but it's you and your.
Does it bother you? Does it bother you? There's a little thing on your nose. Hold on. You just didn't wipe your nose well before. Okay, there's a thing.
You are so gross.
There's
disgusting.
Let's hurry up. This is what bothers me.
First, I can go home.
This is what bothers me. Okay, listen to me. You have all, and I'm going to use the term woke liberals. Okay, I'm just going to use it. You have all these woke liberals in this country that are so concerned about slavery that we had in the past and obtaining reparations for the slavery. But we just agreed, unfortunately we agree, but we did agree on this, that human trafficking is slavery. Where are all these woke liberals fighting against human trafficking? They could fight right now. Instead of worrying about reparations for something that happened 250 years ago, they can use and channel their energy to fight against the modern day slavery that's happening right now, right in front of their face in our country.
Can I answer
Where are they?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Why would they go fix something they don't know anything about, Jonathan?
But they know about...
Keep interrupting me and listen to what I'm saying. You wouldn't ask that question because I just answered it.
You're saying they don't know?
That everything you see on mainstream media and read and watch on American platforms are being highly censored. So a lot of people are oblivious to the fact that this is happening. And the United States has been named as the country with the largest
market.
So
with the largest what? Largest market.
Because the information is covered up well. And apparently, and I'm being very careful with my words, apparently the people blocking it, the people that you would least expect are the ones behind it. And I am so angry because who are these people? Because they have money, fame, and success, somehow feel that they're entitled to enslave and sell other humans. Really?
Regardless of how much money and fame I had, I don't think I would ever be attracted to a child. I mean, I know I wouldn't. What's the connection between wealth and attraction to a child?
I
The
guess
only attraction I have to a child,
you have so much money, you feel you can buy anything.
but what do you want? It doesn't make any
And I'm
sense.
not saying this is true of everyone with money. I really admire a lot of very successful people
So you're saying there's no
use
poor
their
pedophiles? They're only rich?
to help other people. But then I really have a problem if you have so much money that you bought all the land you can buy, and that's another topic.
Oh, you're getting too close. You're getting too close. You're getting too close. Shh, I don't have to save you from getting a lawsuit. No, but the thing is, I don't know if it's necessarily a connection between fame and money to pedophilia, let's say, because there are plenty, I'm sure, poor pedophiles also. I don't mean poor as I mean financially not well off
But if
pedophiles.
you are not well off, how do you afford
I
it?
don't care how much money I had. I'm not buying a child for sex.
You know what?
The only attraction I have to children is my own and raising them right, or trying to at least.
I have just concluded that you love to hear yourself.
I love it.
Why so long to figure this out?
Why didn't you
By
just
the way,
ask me on day one and I would have told you?
Because you asked the question, and when I attempted to answer, you shut me
No,
down.
when I asked you a question before about slavery being equated to human trafficking, you wouldn't answer. I said, just give me yes or no. And you wouldn't answer.
You just asked me a question, although I said no. You just asked me, Jonathan, if they're only rich pedophiles, that they're poor pedophiles. And I attempted to say, where do they get the money to buy the humans?
No, well, there are plenty of people that go to prostitutes. They're not all wealthy people. There are plenty of people that pay $20 and go to a prostitute.
All over the place. Children prostitutes?
No, I'm talking about just prostitutes in general. Whether it's children or adults,
No,
there's trafficking in both. It's not just
I
only
know
children.
what prostitutes gets paid, but
But even do I. I just threw out a number of $20. I mean, for when I was a kid,
I don't like doing
I didn't
this
adjust
with
it for
you.
inflation.
You really hit my Jonathan, I don't want my bitch stick to come out on the show. Please curb your enthusiasm a little. I was saying a poor pedophile cannot afford to buy a human. That's what I'm saying.
What's the income threshold to buy a human? How much you need? Do you know what a human costs?
I heard it's a lot of money to buy.
Give me a
one.
number. 5,000, 10,000.
I don't even want to go there.
But they don't necessarily buy the child. They just buy time with the child. It's the whole thing is repulsive. Yes.
They buy the children, some of them.
Some of them, but other times, like they'll have a kid that's seeing 15 disgusting pedophiles a day and engaging in sex acts. So those people are paying whatever they're paying, $50 for an hour. I don't know what the going rate is.
2 minutes, but before this segment runs out, here's something I want to say that I thought was really sad. Every place, first of all, this movie is being blocked on all fronts.
Let's talk about that in part 2, because that's a whole separate thing.
Okay, so we'll save that for part 2. But one thing is for sure. Everywhere you read about this movie in mainstream media and all the news networks, they are calling all of this, they're saying it's conspiracy.
Do you know why?
And because you put a plaster over a fact, doesn't change it. It is not conspiracy.
Okay, so
it is a reality. People, open your eyes.
It is reality.
Let your child get snatched or stolen. Because it seems like this is the only time that we become.
You're doing good. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay, John.
No, keep going. You were doing good.
I want you to have the rest of the time before the clock stops.
Okay. So what I was going to say is, yes, Jenny was making a very good point. Keep an eye on your children and don't fall for these scams about modeling and acting and all this stuff, because a lot of it is a front, or a lot of it could be a front for the abduction and horrible things that happen to children. But as far as what you said before, which again was also a very good point, it's very easy to discredit something by giving it a label. So if you label something conspiracy theory, it negates to people any validity to anything of that argument.
And that's why it's being used.
But that's why we talk about it. When someone says you're a homophobe, you're transphobic, you're this, you're that, when they label you, it discredits everything you say. So the label, like you said, does not change the facts, but it sort of gives the media cover to ignore it, because
it's
a whatever, via whatever.
That there are people who believe in everything they hear on Fox, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NPR, wherever. And
XYZ.
if you discredit something, you
WXY.
dismiss it. You dismiss it. You don't do your homework.
Yeah, well, I'm not dismissing it, and we're going to be back for part 2 on this.
Is the
We'll be back.
reality. People's innocent children are being trafficked. Where are all the children that come in on the borders? Where are they? Where did they go? And we thank you for watching.
And we're going to continue this.
Say that.
We'll be back next week for part 2 on this.
Next week with part 2.
Stay tuned.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.
Good night.